Sena now in a huddle after Shinde's show of strength. What we know is that Uddhav Thackeray's camp has also come together to try and understand and deliberate on these images that we see on our screens here. Eknath Shinde showing very strong support from at least 35 Sena MLAs and 7 independents. This is the image that we see on our screens here. While that said, you have Uddhav Thackeray's camp barely having 13 MLAs, out of which one of them is Aditya Thackeray himself, the son of Uddhav Thackeray. Here, Sena, we believe, in the latest, is coming together in a huddle after Shinde's show of strength. These images are so telling and hard-hitting. Comes as a massive embarrassment and a shame to Uddhav Thackeray, who never noticed this rebellion right under his nose. In fact, right now, after seeing these images that may have really startled Uddhav Thackeray at this point, he may have received a big blow seeing this kind of numbers. So far, this was all hearsay that maybe there are 35, maybe there are 25, maybe it's just all information that's just up in the air and not there is no confirmation on the actual numbers that Eknath Shinde really boasts of. But that, putting all of it to rest, here Eknath Shinde coming together in this key show of strength, and these visuals gives out a huge statement that all what he said right from the start has been right. He's been true to his word. Eknath Shinde does have the numbers, and here is that proof right here on our screens. Sahil Joshi gives us more on that. Sahil, over to you on Sena now in a key huddle. When I say Sena, it's still, now, the lines are blurred now. Which Sena is the true Sena? The whole Sena leadership is with Eknath Shinde. Can we call Uddhav Thackeray's Sena as Sena any longer?
Well, if it comes to the legislative party, then of course yes. Eknath Shinde holds the key, and Eknath Shinde holds the Shiv Sena's Shiv Sena's front at this point of time. He has more number of MLAs than that of Uddhav Thackeray. So if you look at the politics, you have to think of the political party in two different ways. The political party as a political party is a separate entity. When the MLAs are elected, and it becomes the legislative party. So what Eknath Shinde has done, that he has made a rift within the legislative party, and he has the bigger section of this legislative party. So his section will get, if the Deputy Speaker agrees, of course, and Deputy Speaker has raised certain questions with respect to that. It looks like that it may go on the legal tangle altogether. But he is aspiring to have, a recognition as a separate group from the group of Uddhav Thackeray. Whatever the numbers he has at this point of time, and he has enough numbers, so he can always claim safely, without attracting any provisions of anti-defection law. He can always claim that he belongs to a separate group, and that's how he will form that separate group. That is point number one. Now there is a separate party in the parliament. So there is a parliamentary party, Shiv Sena Parliamentary Party. There are 18 MPs in Shiv Sena's Lok Sabha Parliamentary Party. There again, he will have to break. As a 2/3 MPs needs to be with him, where he can form a separate group and can decide to support the Modi government there. And that procedure is already on. He has been already in touch with some of the member of parliament, but he is not opening up that front at this point of time. Maybe during the parliament session, he may open up that front as well. Now, the third part comes is about Rajya Sabha, but there are hardly 4 MPs, 3 MPs right now of Shiv Sena there, and nothing much is going to happen there in Rajya Sabha. But as far as Lok Sabha is concerned, there may be a separate group. Now comes to the political party. To break the political party, you will need to show that you have broken the political party in the middle. The office bearers, the leaders, and your whole structure of structure as a political party. That is still intact with Uddhav Thackeray. The administration of Shiv Sena, works like the Communist Party. There is a kind of a Politburo system in Shiv Sena. All the people, the 12 people who is the decision-making body, is the body of leaders of Shiv Sena, in which Eknath Shinde is one of the leaders, Sanjay Raut is one of the leaders. But in that leaders also, there are some leaders who are with Eknath Shinde at this point of time. So that body will also need to be broken in middle, and that is how, if he decides, he can capture Shiv Sena as a party as well. But that is a very long shot at this point of time. Right now, his aim is very clear, that bring down Uddhav Thackeray government. break the legislative party, get the maximum MLAs which he has already got. He will break the legislative party, he will form the government with the BJP, and then rest of the things will come forward, will unfold. Maybe the politics will change over the period of time. Maybe Uddhav Thackeray will realize that he cannot run the party without these MLAs, so he will try to tell them that, let's come together and go with the BJP. Maybe Uddhav Thackeray will decide that let me try my hands in politics on my own, and he will run Shiv Sena. There will be the BMC elections. So, all these things are of future, and there are a lot of ifs and buts involved in that. But right now his aim seems to be very clear, that he wants to break the legislative party, which he has already broken. He wants to be recognized as a separate group, which he will eventually, and then form the government with the BJP. So it's a process. As a process, it seems very clear at this point of time. Nabila.
In fact, at this point, we know that the Eknath Shinde camp have already written a letter to the governor saying that they have the numbers and they want a floor test. Has there been a response to that? Or what are they really waiting for?
See, this is just they have informed that this is what we have done. They have not asked for the floor test yet. They have also written a letter to the Deputy Speaker, and the Deputy Speaker in the morning spoke exclusively to India Today and claimed that, said that, he doesn't believe that letter because he thinks that a lot of MLAs have been taken forcibly. Their signatures may not be real because one of the MLA has already complained that his signature was forged. So he wants to, be assured about the remaining signatures. This is all technicalities. Eventually he will have to accept the group because till the time you don't have the numbers, you can just delay it, but you cannot stop it. So if Shinde has all these people together the way they are looking today, then things will not change and it will remain as it is, and Shinde will get the recognition as a separate group. So we'll have to wait for some more time. There are a couple of days. This will go on like this. Finally Shinde will write a letter about Uddhav government losing the majority, and after that it's likely that the BJP will come into action, and then further things will happen eventually. Nabila.
All right. At this point, from what we see here, none of these MLAs look like they're forced and kidnapped and made to sit there out of their will and wish. Does that say anything to you, Sahil? The visuals that we see here, if we can take a full frame of this shot that we see on our screens of all the 42 rebels who are right now with Eknath Shinde, who among them look
Nabila,
like they're forced and pushed and coaxed?
Well, Nabila, I've been covering politics since last so many years, and I can tell you for a fact that you cannot read politicians' face at any point of time. These many MLAs just a few days before, on 19th of June, were present with Uddhav Thackeray. They were touching his feet, they were greeting him. That was the Shiv Sena's foundation day. They were all greeted by Uddhav Thackeray on the same day. Immediately the next day, few of them, went to Surat along with Eknath Shinde. So, it's very difficult to read the faces. If you can pull out the pictures from 19th of June, you will believe that the Shiv Sena is intact and it is never going to break. What we are seeing today, just after 2 days, is that the same very MLAs are sitting in Guwahati, a BJP-ruled state, and chanting Shiv Sena Zindabad, Balasaheb Thackeray Zindabad, and revolting against his son Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena chief. So, I don't want to get into reading of their faces and say, look at them, do they look like that, do they look like this, because their faces can never tell you the truth. They never said the truth even before. So that's very difficult to predict at this point of time. What is the truth at this point of time? That these many heads are present in Guwahati at this point of time, whereas at Varsha in Mumbai, where the meeting which has been called by the Uddhav Thackeray clan, only 13 people have reached. 3 people could not reach, but they are with Uddhav Thackeray. That is the reality at this point of time. Let's not get into the reading of the faces. This is the reality at this point of time, that 45 people in Guwahati, 16 people are in Mumbai with Uddhav Thackeray. 4 people, their stand is not yet clear, but eventually it looks like that they will go with Eknath Shinde. So this is the reality and the situation at this point of time. What will be the situation 1 week later? Will more MLAs switch over to Eknath Shinde? Will some of the people come back to Shiv Sena? That is something we will have to see in few days of time. But right now the reality is what it is, what we are seeing in the picture.